102.7 WMOM, Pentwater, Ludington, Reed City, and all of West Michigan. Good morning and welcome to Leading West Michigan, a show about success and featuring local leaders and people in local business. And now here's your host, Ryan Howe.
Good morning, West Michigan. We have a great show for you today. I'm Ryan Howe. I'm a business coach who helps organizations grow. I help businesses like the law firm of Basham & Scott, Matthew Six Construction, Safe Harbor Credit Union, find and retain A players, drive profitable processes, and eliminate chaos. Why wait? Start your business transformation today. Follow Summit Business Guides on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and connect with me on LinkedIn and learn more at summitbusinessguides.com. So this show is all about learning about our guest leadership journey. And joining us today is Grace Richardson, the Coalition Coordinator for the Leeward Initiative. Morning, Grace.
Morning.
It's good to have you on here today. Again, it's been an adventure getting you on here. We had a little technical issues this morning, but we got through it just fine. And I'll tell you, we wanted to have you on back in October. Had some stuff kind of step up there, but I'm really been excited to get you on here because of the work that you do. It's a bit behind the radar, and I'll give you an opportunity to kind of talk about basically what the Leeward Initiative is and what you're actually and where you actually work at.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So my name is Grace Richardson, and I am a public health educator with District Health Department number 10. And as Ryan mentioned, I coordinate our local substance use prevention coalition here in Mason County, and it's called the Leeward Initiative.
So now, and with that, we'll get more about what that means and what that's about later. So again, we are also, it looks like another typical day here in January in Ludington. Got some clouds coming in, a little cooler out. And I'll tell you, I'm excited to hear more about you and how, what led you to this particular work that you do. It's always interesting to hear those type of things. So with that, where are you from, Grace?
So my hometown is Chesaning, Michigan. It's pretty rural. It's a small little village, probably in like mid-Michigan area.
Mid-Michigan area? Like, where would be the closest town, you think?
Let's see. Saginaw is not too far away.
Okay, so you're over on that side. So when you say small rural, like what were the sizes you were looking at?
Well, it's a small village, probably about 2,000 people.
Okay, because I'm from a small village, Custer, and we've got like less than 300. So
yeah.
Okay, so about 2,000 people, and as far as your school, like what was the size of your school that you went to?
I'd say my graduating class was probably 140, maybe. Our school is probably 500 students total, I would say. Yeah, so like not super small, but not super big.
Okay, all right, so not super small, not super big. And so with that, did you like school?
I did like school a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I liked high school a lot, I would say.
So you like high school a lot. So what was the difference between you guys when you were younger versus the high school? What was that difference? You
could just kind of make your own decisions. You turn 16, you get your driver's license. I bought my first car. You have more independence, so... Got it.
So basically, what you're saying is that transition where you got closer to being more towards an adult you enjoyed, not necessarily the school time itself.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, all right. So, but with that, was there anything in school in particular that you enjoyed that, kind of led you towards, set the stage for you when you were thinking about what you want to do for college?
So... Throughout school, I was involved in a lot of sports. I always liked to be active. So I played, starting when I was really, really young, I played tennis all the way up through high school. In high school, I played basketball. I didn't do volleyball until I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and then I stopped that in high school. Softball. I played all the way through maybe sophomore year of high school. So I was just like always active, always going. And then I was also involved in a bunch of like extracurricular activities. Like I was on our student council. I tried to volunteer if I had any volunteer opportunities in our community. So since it was kind of like a more small rural area, it was just kind of nice to find new things to like keep yourself busy.
Okay, yeah. So again, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Grace Richardson, the Coalition Coordinator for the Leeward Initiative. I'm Ryan Howe. This is Leading West Michigan, and this show is all about learning about our guest leadership journey. So let's go back to some of the stuff you talked about as far as for sports. Now, it's one thing that I've discovered and I've found
I've always liked about the smaller schools, you have an opportunity to basically try every sport.
Yeah.
Because they need somebody for, in order to round out those teams. So in this case, we're, tennis, but you in the wide swath that you went there. What was your first fascination with tennis? Like, how did that start?
It's kind of a cute story. So we used to have peewee soccer. So I started soccer when I was probably like 4 years old and didn't do it for very long. And then our soccer coach was also our tennis coach, and he was running some summer camps. And he's like, "Oh, do you want to try tennis?" And I'm young, so I just asked my parents, "Can I try tennis?" And they're like, "Yeah." So then I started peewee tennis, which I've been playing since I was probably in like first grade, I would say. No one else in my family had ever really picked up that sport before. It was just me. And I would do our summer camps every single year and then started making new friends and got along with the coaches really well. So it just became more fun. And I to this day, I still actively play that sport. So
you just, I can imagine your parents' face when you're like, "Hey, I'd like to try this tennis thing." And they're like, "Where did this come from?"
Probably they can thank the soccer coach.
Oh, that's too funny. But, with that though, and then you mentioned, so you went from basically what is a solo sport, right? Where it's all about you and the focus that you have there. But then you also had, you mentioned you started volleyball later. What was the transition like into volleyball? Like, how did that happen?
Again, I had no clue about that sport. No one in my family played volleyball. It was just a new thing, and I was like, "Hey, I'll try that." And since it was like middle school era, it's like new to everyone, so I didn't even have to be very good at it. So that's why I only really tried that out for about a year or so, and then figured out that sport wasn't for me.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. But again, you got an opportunity to try.
Yes.
And that's a big part of that there. So while you were in school, were there any particular courses that you liked? We have math people and writing people and everything. Were there any that really kind of caught your attention that you focused on? And were there any teachers that may have had an impact?
So growing up, I would say I liked my science classes more than other classes. But more so in the way of when we would do health classes, like a health science class. So I really liked learning about human anatomy and nutrition. So I started linking the science with the health, and then that grew my passion more for health.
I get it. That makes sense. I know a lot of folks that they get their first, touch in A&P, human anatomy, and they're going there and they see the science be able to basically put those two things together. So you mentioned science, so that means math must have been okay with you too.
I wasn't big on math. I'm still not.
Okay. All right. That must have made it for a bit of a challenge, but I'm sure you put in the time and energy, obviously, there. So were there any teachers that, that were able to help you, focus, or, as far as mentors that said, "Hey, I think this might be the thing for you to focus on and work on"?
Oh, yeah. So I had a health teacher who recognized when I was in high school that I was more passionate about health, and he knew I was really involved in sports. So at one point, he started looking into curriculums and school or colleges for me. So he was looking at Saginaw Valley, and he's like, "Oh, you'd be a really good health teacher." So he really helped me a lot. And then other teachers, I look up to most all of my teachers that I've had in the past, because teaching in general is just a very difficult job, and I give teachers so much credit. So thank you all for what you do. Because they really are the ones that kind of push and guide you in the right direction. So if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would have really started looking more into health.
No, I get that. It's again, definitely something for our teachers. They spend so much time with us growing up, as we're maturing and aging, and that one piece in particular where you mentioned that they see where you've got that spark, that little bit of attention. They say, "Hey, this might be a good direction for you to go." That's great. So that's awesome to hear. So with that, you got high school going, kind of finishing up high school. Was college always the plan?
Yes. A lot of people you'll still hear to this day, "I'm only 18 and I don't know what I want to do with my life. I'm so young, how am I supposed to know?" So I had a slight idea that I wanted to do something with health, but I wasn't quite sure. But I knew I did want to go to school. I wanted to get my bachelor's degree. So I knew that you could start with just your gen eds. So, I took my basic algebra course, my basic health course, and then later on, I would link up at college with an academic advisor, and that's when they would start assisting me more. And so I was able to get an idea of what else I wanted to pursue.
Gotcha. So, and that's where I go back to a lot of folks here, especially in this area. If you're not 100% sure where you're at, we got this great opportunity over in West Shore where you can go take care of a lot of your gen ed stuff and fill out as you're exploring and figuring out what you want to do with college and, the area that you want to pursue. So, but with that, there's a lot of folks I know where they go to college, they have an idea what they want to do, and then they have to kind of do U-turn basically midway through because, oh, wait, you know what? This is probably a better fit for me. So good for you. I'm going to start with the gen ed. And how was that you went to...
I went to Central Michigan
University. You went to
University.
CMU. Okay, so one of those Chippewa people over there. So okay, got it. So CMU. I got a few of those in my family that made the trip over there. And what was your experience like over at CMU?
I absolutely loved it. I don't really have anything negative I could say about my university. I think it was so much fun. I met so many people, and we're still friends to this day. So I loved it.
Well, so part of that, and for me, I didn't get a college experience. I was online due to my time in the military, where I was traveling around and having to do distance education. I think I had maybe 3 courses. I did take college some classes out here at West Shore when I was in high school, but after that, maybe 1 or 2 were in person, the rest were online. So what is it about the experience, though, in person that, really benefited you the most, would you say?
Well, I'm definitely a people person, and I love meeting people and making new friends. So I was super excited that I was able to go out on my own and become a little bit more independent and meet so many new people from all over the place. And I even one year had a roommate from Germany. I went in blind with roommates. She came all the way over from Germany, and to this day, her and I are really good friends. So I just love meeting people.
Gotcha. So it was, for you, what you got, on top of the education you got, it was really just being able to spend the time with folks and be able to get that. So
yes.
That's great to hear. So were there any courses, so within college, what does that look like for the degree that you got in health education?
Yes. So my degree is actually in community health education, also known as public health for short. And CMU does, or at least it did when I went there, require you to have a minor. So I minored in nutrition. It kind of started when my freshman year I was taking those gen eds, and they placed me in a healthy lifestyles class. So that was the mix of the science and health and just everything you can think of that has to do just with basic health. And I loved that. So that's when I started meeting with my academic advisor, and they're like, oh, you really liked this health course. You want to minor in nutrition. Let's start looking at your future career path. And that's when I started focusing a little bit more on the health classes.
Okay. Now, when you're going through that, and that's interesting for rounding out the degree. So how much is the balance between, again, as far as health education? So how much is between learning how to actually communicate versus the science behind of understanding health? What would you say the balance is for that degree?
I'd say it's actually pretty even. I mean, I had to take some tough courses, which you wouldn't really think, why do I need to take statistics for public health? And then after you took statistics, you had to take biostatistics. That was a challenge, but we got through it. And then I had to take science courses like environmental science, and then I took environmental health. And you would think those 2 courses go hand in hand, but they don't. They were both very challenging. So that was my science portion. And then my health portion was more we had to do a class on responding to emergencies. And that class was completely hands-on practical exams. Super fun. I had to do courses on substance use prevention. I had to do a bunch of nutrition courses, so I'd say it was pretty even.
Okay, all right, well, that makes sense, I guess, with, health communication, public health makes sense there. Now, with statistics, as soon as you said that, I was like, she doesn't like math. Statistics was probably the bane of your existence, because that's one of those courses that it's just pure math through and through on that. So, what was the size, I guess, of your cohort that you had when you were going through there?
Our class size ranged I'd say like the further I got into public health, there was probably only maybe like 25 of us per class. I actually didn't walk during graduation because I graduated in August of 2019, and CMU had you either walk. No, wait. If you graduated in August, you had to walk in December. You couldn't walk prior to that. So I don't really know how many people I would have walked with or would have graduated with me in public health.
No, so and the reason I'm asking that is because you have, there's certain cohorts within the classes, like they're going to be pretty big, where you have a lot of folks in the business side of it. They tend to be larger. The education piece, basically for teaching, tends to be a group. I was just curious about what that size was that are specifically focusing in the public health arena, which I'm not surprised that those are the size classes that you had, because as we know, it's one of those areas that we have there's a lack of folks for. There's a need for in the public health arena. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I want to talk a little bit more about that too.
Yeah, it was definitely female oriented too. There weren't very many males in our courses.
And that's one of those things that where they talk, where I've seen when my daughter, she graduated this year with her elementary teaching certificate, and it was probably 90% were female. It's just the nature of the beast. There's certain, I want to say genders are drawn, but people have the things that they're drawn to. So, so with that, we're going to take our first break. And when we get back, I want to talk about kind of your adventures, what it looked like, either internships or what that looked like onto your next job. So again, you're listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM, at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and the WMOM YouTube channel. Let's take our first break, and when we return, I can't wait to hear more about your journey.
Unlock a new you this year at the Cedar Chest Consignment Shop. Dive into a world of style where every outfit tells a story. Discover unique pieces that fit your vibe and budget. This new year, redefine your wardrobe with fashion finds that stand out. From chic ensembles to timeless classics, the Cedar Chest has it all. Our new winter hours through March. We're closed Sunday through Wednesday, and we are open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 11 to 5 p.m. And remember, dress your best for less at the Cedar Chest in beautiful downtown Ludington.
Spartan West Bowling Alley in Scottville is your go-to spot for family fun. Whether you're a bowling pro or just looking for a good time, Spartan West has it all with well-maintained lanes and a vibrant atmosphere. From friendly competition to memorable gatherings, our welcoming staff and fantastic amenities ensure an enjoyable experience for bowlers of all skill levels. Plus, inside Spartan West, Beamer's Restaurant awaits, offering amazing burritos and all-you-can-eat fish fry on Fridays and delicious pizzas with a variety of toppings. Join us for a fantastic and satisfying experience at Spartan West Bowling Alley in the heart of Scottville. For more information, call 231-757-2391. That's 231-757-2391.
Do you live in Riverton Township or around Ford Lake? SyncWave is now offering faster speeds in these areas. Call now to see if your location is within range for the next generation of broadband. SyncWave's latest technology allows you to have 200 megabits per second for only $85 a month. Stream in 4K, download games, work from home, and so much more. Contact SyncWave at 231-845-1065 or visit synkwave.com. That number again, 231-845-1065.
Rev up your engine with Napa Auto Parts, Ludington's only locally owned auto parts store. Napa has been a part of the community for over 50 years. Napa Auto Parts offers a personal touch for your automotive needs. More than just a store, they're your local partner, supplying parts to everyone from auto mechanics to manufacturing, marine, construction, farms, and more. Need parts fast? Napa Auto Parts can get non-stocked items the same day or overnight. If your New Year's resolution is to save money, head to Napa Auto Parts in Ludington. Right now, Napa oil is on sale for $3.29 a quart. Grab winter wipers, a new battery to avoid cold weather breakdowns, new headlights for safer roads. Race into Napa Auto Parts on West US 10. Call 231-845-1221. That's 845-1221. Napa Auto Parts, driving excellence, powering performance.
Looking for events and happenings in the area? Look no further than Mom's Fridge Magnets. Presented by Watson Motors, West Michigan CMH, McGee Insurance, and Lakeshore Automotive and Tire. Another fridge magnet comes your way next.
Cold and flu season is right around the corner. You want to make sure you and your family are covered from the unexpected. At McGee Insurance Group, we have dedicated agents that specialize in health benefits tailored for you and your workforce. We're open weekdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and are located next to Pizza Hut on US 10 in Ludington. Our number is 231-845-5000. Contact us today. See what options are available for you.
West Michigan CMH is hiring. We offer competitive wages, have a fabulous benefit package, and we are committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And did I mention some positions qualify for tuition reimbursement? You won't just be joining a team, you will be a part of a team where you can grow and thrive. Make an impact on your community. Go to WMCMHS.org and apply today.
The Grant Seekers Workshop is a valuable opportunity for Mason County nonprofit leaders or volunteers to enhance their grant application skills in preparation for the Community Foundation for Mason County Competitive Spring Grant Cycle. Taking place on January 11th, this in-person workshop conducted by the foundation team will guide participants through the competitive grant application process with a special focus on constructing project budgets. This workshop will be at the Lakeshore Resource Network from 10 to 11 a.m. If your group or nonprofit organization has an announcement that you would like others to know about, reach out to us and we'll add it for free to the Fridge Magnet program thanks to Lakeshore Automotive and Tire, McGee Insurance, West Michigan, CMH, and Watson Motors.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
All right, welcome back. I'm Ryan Howe from Summit Business Guides, and we're continuing our conversation with Grace Richardson, the Coalition Coordinator for the Leeward Initiative. Again, before the break, we were about to discuss some basically time with your internship and what that looked like, but you have an anniversary, you said today. We heard about during the break there. What's your anniversary that you're dealing with today?
I do. So I have been working at District Health Department number 10 as of today for 4 years.
Outstanding. 4 years. Do backwards math. That sounds like 2020, so I'm sure we got some stories to talk about with there. So what was it like for your internships? Where did you intern at?
So for my degree, it was required that we had an internship. So for some reason, and I don't really know the answer to this, but when I chose public health as my path, I always said, I want to work for a health department. So
Is that something that a lot of folks don't do? They just say, I just want to...
I have no clue. But there was something in me that was like, I'm going to work for a health department. So I started looking for internships for health departments. And at the time, I was living in Mount Pleasant. So I was researching different health departments in the area. And I landed an internship for the summer months with Mid-Michigan District Health Department, which covers Gratiot, Montcalm, and Clinton counties. Yeah. So I worked with them for about 3 months.
Okay. Again, we're continuing our conversation with Grace Richardson, the Coalition Coordinator for Leeward Initiative. And what does that internship look like? Did they basically just have you move paper from one side of a desk to another, or did they get you involved in some stuff?
That's funny because that's what I thought. Like, you always think when you hear internship that you're going to be running and getting coffee and doing paperwork. No. I mean, maybe somewhere, maybe in New York or something. But at the small health department that I interned at, it was really fun, actually, because I got to see as a whole, like, how a health department operates and works together. So I wasn't just working with, community health education. I was actually able to go on food inspection runs. That was super fun and interesting. I was able to sit up front and work with our immunizations nurse. So I learned a lot about vaccines. I learned a lot about environmental health. I would go and sit with the clerk there, and she would tell me about well and septic permits. I just learned a lot about health departments in general.
No, that's good. And that was my hope. And that's where I've seen, it's been my experience in this state, as I've talked to individuals I've worked in the different areas, when they're internships, so they have to go, they do a very good job of making sure you touch as many points as possible so you get a good idea of what you're getting into. So that way, when you show up and they do a hire, they know that, hey, they actually understand what goes on here versus, hey, you're doing coffee and paper like that. So with that, after your internship, what did the job placement look like after that, as far as help with the college, or what was that like?
So I was applying for a lot of jobs during my internship, and it does get a little discouraging. So if you are younger and trying to finish up college currently, don't get discouraged if you don't get hired right away. I probably applied for 10 different positions as I was in my internship because, your goal is to finish your internship, graduate, and then start working. But it was very difficult. A lot of the places you try to apply for, they want that experience. So you're reading through your application and it says you need 2 to 5 years minimum experience. Well, if you're fresh out of college, you don't quite have that. You have your internship. So I just started applying to a lot of different places in hopes that someone would take me. I had maybe 2 or 3 interviews prior to the position I'm at now. I didn't really want those jobs, but it was an interview. So any interview experience you can take.
So with that, and that's so I've a couple things out there for the job seekers, and 2 things. One, it's usually 100 no's to get to that yes. So if you're, it's just the nature of the beast. But the other side of it, though, is you are a professional interviewer when you are looking for work. So every chance you get to have an interview, even if it may not be someplace that you want to work, it gives you a chance to practice some of those questions that you want to ask back, be familiar with some of the questions that you're going to get. So when you do get in front of the one, like, this is the one I really want to land, I think I'm ready for, you've had a chance to kind of cut your teeth a little bit and be able to work through that. So good for you for sticking to it. So as far as for Central, though, was there any help from the administrative office? Were they just sending you leads saying, here's some spots to look at? Or
there was a lot of help.
Okay.
Our public health program at Central Michigan University, I highly recommend if you're thinking about going into health, just because we have super amazing administrators there who are extremely passionate, who have worked there for many, many years, who attend conferences, who can network for you. They just know a lot of people. And they will really help you build your resume up. They'll review it, and then they can also help send it to their networks.
Okay, so again, we are continuing our conversation with Grace Richardson, the Coalition Coordinator for the Leeward Initiative here. So let's talk about when you showed up here, and we were blessed with your presence. So what was that like as far as interviewing here and then getting accepted for the work? Where did you start? What did it look like?
So I actually had to interview here back in December of 2019. I thought it went pretty well. And I was pretty excited when they're like, oh, we're going to give you a second interview. And I was like, yes, I got this. They gave me the second interview and they gave me the job. So then I was this young, new public health educator coming into not a 3-county health department, but a 10-county health department. So big steps. And I absolutely loved it. And I got hired in, as we mentioned, in January of 2020. What a time to be alive. What a time to start your first job 3 months later.
Yeah, everything shuts down.
For the world to shut down. But honestly, that is something that I will never, ever forget. Going through a pandemic and working in public health, being able to work as a frontliner was just absolutely, life-changing. So I liked it.
Now, there's something to be said also when you start in a new position or a new job to get the reps in, to be able to have to go and be active and go through those, Malcolm Gladwell's got it's 10,000 hours worth of work for mastery. There's other ways you can look at it, but nothing actually can replace experience. And if you can get a volume of experience like you got right off the bats, unfortunately yet unfortunately you had to deal with during the pandemic, you got to see a million different things in a real life situation. So what was your first position? What did that, I'm curious, what does the first job look like as a public health communicator? What's that, what did they have you doing right off the bat?
So as a health educator, so I primarily work in Mason County, so it's a lot of networking. So since I had transplanted here, I linked up with a lot of my coworkers who were more local or who were born and raised here, and I'm like, okay, I want a list of where are, my local fire departments, where's my police departments, who are my contacts for these people, because I knew later on, fast forward 4 years, I'm going to be working with all of these people. So that was something right off the bat that I dove into and was learning about my community.
Okay, so the first thing you really is just understand exactly what the community is. So
yeah.
And again, that makes perfect sense. So you can kind of see what the demographics are, see the challenges that the your contacts, what they might be, out with the general public, what sort of challenges that they're up against, so that you can either make sure you can get the appropriate information to them. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I know that to figure out your job, easy peasy. So we're heading into our next break here. When we get back, let's talk a little bit about the pandemic, and then how you moved into the Leeward Initiative. Sounds good. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Great. So you're listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM, at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and the WMOM YouTube channel. So let's get into the next break. And when we get back, I'm excited to start introducing everybody to the Leeward Initiative.
Do you enjoy refunds on ATM withdrawal fees, building savings automatically, no monthly maintenance fees, and free digital banking? Well, Safe Harbor Credit Union offers a free checking account that pays 5% APY on balances up to $15,000. You can open your account within minutes. Innovative checking built on traditional values. Free Kasasa Cash rewards you for supporting your community. Some key features include high dividends, refunds on ATM withdrawal fees, no monthly maintenance fees, and no minimum balance requirements. To learn more, check out our website at safeharborcu.org or come visit us at our office at 5511 US 10. Member, owner, neighbor. Here, you're one and the same. Safe Harbor Credit Union.
Winter is here, and Superior Exteriors has your back. Don't let the cold wreak havoc on your home. Trust the experts for top-notch gutter installations and roof repairs all winter long. Plus, Superior Exteriors has a service that offers effective solutions to prevent the formation of ice dams and icicles on roofs. Through the use of various products, we employ a cost-effective approach to stop snowmelt water from refreezing, ensuring that ice dams and icicles are proactively avoided. Call Superior Exteriors today at 231-907-2882. That's 231-907-2882. Schedule your winter home protection with the pros who work in the cold so you don't have to. Superior Exteriors, your shield against the winter chill.
The menu at Hungry Howie's offers a delightful variety of options. From pizzas featuring fresh dough made daily, real mozzarella cheese, premium toppings, and 8 flavored crusts, to mouth-watering Asian chicken flatbread with customizable, delicious toppings. Hungry Howie's oven-baked subs are crafted with fresh dough, promised in a calzone-style delight. Hungry Howie's Howie Breads presents warm, flavorful breadsticks, while the fresh salads complement the pizzas perfectly. Enjoy juicy and crispy Howie wings in various flavors, or go to the innovative no-dough bowl, a crustless pizza baked to perfection. Don't forget about Hungry Howie's tempting desserts and cold drinks, including a secret menu for the adventurous. Hungry Howie's has been locally owned for 20 years, not built for quantity, but for quality to the community. Call 231-843-6363. That's 231-843-6363, or order online and follow your order with Howie Track. Hungry Howie's, the home of flavored crusts for 50 years and awarded the Small Business of the Year. Your satisfaction is our priority at Howie's. Hungry Howie's.
Hungry Howie.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
All right, welcome back. Again, before the break, I was here with Grace Richardson, the coalition coordinator for the Leeward Initiative, and talked about her, heading up here to Ludington, starting right at basically the pandemic kicked off, and really going through that. So with your time in health, as far as a public health communicator, you got an opportunity to also hear about what the Leeward Initiative was and start there. So what can you tell us about, the work that was done for starting it and how it was implemented, and then how you came to, again, be the coalition coordinator?
Sure. Yeah. So again, the Leeward Initiative is a substance use prevention education coalition in Mason County. It started back in 2016, so that was before I was hired in, and Katie Miller was our coordinator at the time. She and a few others at the time started working with a strategic planner, and they were able to develop a 5-year strategic plan. And they also started doing the branding, so how they got the name Leeward Initiative, creating the logo for the Leeward Initiative. So they just were able to do all of that work and then carried it on from 2016 all the way through current. So she was the coordinator up until October of 2021, and then I became coordinator for the Leeward Initiative.
So we were talking during the break there that, when I showed up to the first Leeward Initiative meeting, I think it was back in September, And I remember you're like, who's this guy, right? Because why the heck is there a business coach here? And it's more to do because I was on the school board, wanted to get a better idea. But can you talk about who's actually in the coalition? Like what makes it up?
Yeah, so it is, again, a substance use prevention education coalition. So we have people from agencies and organizations all over Mason County and law enforcement. So we'll have local law enforcement, state, we'll have some sheriff, sheriffs come. We'll have school representatives, different nonprofit organizations, counselors, more school representatives. Like each meeting, we usually have about 12 people come. It's not always the same 12 people, but it's nice because they're just like people from all over Mason County. So a little bit of everyone comes. We have the schools sit in because they always want to hear like what our efforts are towards vaping and how we can help decrease the number of students who are caught vaping or how we can help them with vaping cessation.
So, and that was one of the things that piqued my interest about it, because when I was first told about it, I was like, okay, I don't think I've actually heard of these folks before. And you guys work, it's not necessarily behind the scenes, but I'd say you're like next to the scenes where you're in there and providing that information. Very important, like saying to the counselor so that they can provide, if there's a student that wants to, stop vaping or whatever like that, they can go and say, hey, the counselor can then reach out and make sure that they have the information and the access to be able to do those things. So how did you end up making that transition from Katie when Katie decided to move on? What did that look like?
So it was a little difficult in the beginning because we were fully virtual because of COVID. That was still in October of 2021. So we were a smaller group back then. As Katie was kind of transitioning me into this role, she was kind of like, make it your own, have fun with it, which I love doing. So I was able to slowly rebuild the group to bring us back to in-person meetings, which was really fun, and do a lot of recruitment, which is how we got Ryan here. So the transition, it was pretty easy. It took a little while, though, just to build up the recruitment, and then we also had to build a new strategic plan. And we don't only focus on like vaping. We focus a lot around reducing access to like alcohol, marijuana. We focus on youth mental health. So how can kids who may be struggling learn how to cope with their emotions? We focus on recovery. So how can we partner with local recovery agencies or organizations to get people the help or references that they need to find? Yeah. So it's a lot of coordination that goes on with that, obviously. And again, your coalition coordinator, you're out front. And this is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on is because, you serve in a leadership function that is coordinating a lot of disparate areas around different governmental agencies and a lot of nonprofits. And, one of the concerns that most, a lot of citizens have is, where is those taxpayer dollars going, to make sure that they're put in the right spot. And your position, this coalition coordinator, is ensuring that maximum, the capital is going to the area that needs to be in the maximum effort to where it's going to have the greatest impact, which is really great to see. Thank you. Again, those just joining us, this is Leading West Michigan. I'm Ryan Howe with Summit Business Guys. We're talking with Grace Richardson, the coalition coordinator for the Leeward Initiative. And so with that, you got in there, now you've been moving on. And what was what's one of your biggest challenges that you had when you first came on, outside of basically making that transition from Zoom to in person? Like, what's one of the biggest challenges you've seen? Honestly, I'd probably say continuing with recruitment. How do we get people to stay? So we might have one person come to a meeting and they're like, oh, this is awesome, but then we never see them again, unfortunately. So I really like to make things fun and interactive. So like at last month's meeting, I'm like, hey, everyone, it's December. Wear your ugly sweaters. And for the last half hour of our meeting, we're going to have Christmas-themed snacks that I made, which was really cool. And we're going to play games like pin the antlers on the reindeer and reindeer antler toss. So I try to make it a lot of fun and interactive, and people can network with each other and keep coming to the meeting.
Sure, absolutely. And I was saying I felt bad I missed last month. Again, I was in Vegas for my anniversary, but I have an award-winning ugly sweater that I wanted to be able to wear. But next year, this year I'll make sure I'm in there for it. So now with that, as far as your connections that you have, we talked about vaping, and you've started a new, as far as strategic plan, can you talk a little bit about that?
So we still are editing our strategic plan a little bit, but as mentioned right now, 2 of our focus areas is reduce access. So I don't want to quite call it a work group yet, but it's going to be a group that's working during our meetings on reducing access. So they're going to brainstorm we know some people might be social hosting. Well, what is social hosting? Let's talk a little bit about it, educate people on it, and reduce access to kids getting their hands on alcohol or marijuana. And then our other group right now is focusing on youth mental health. So what are some ways that kids can, or our youth can cope with their emotions? So what can we as a coalition do to help support, schools if they have a lot of kids being referred for mental health? Maybe we can, have a mental health assembly or just small things like that. So reducing access and youth mental health are 2 of the things right now in the strategic plan, but we still have other things working on. It is a 5-year plan, so we can't get everything done in 1 year since it's over the course of 5 years.
Yeah, no, that's great. So so with that, we're heading into our final break. When we get back, I want to talk about some of the initiatives that you currently have going on, how people can connect and how they can help. You're listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and WMOM YouTube channel. So it's time for that final break. When we get back, can't wait to hear what's happening with the Leeward Initiative right now.
January's birthstone is garnet, which symbolizes protection, friendship, trust, commitment, and love, offering an extra layer of significance to your jewelry. Victoria's Jewelry is your go-to destination for the largest selection of engagement, wedding, and anniversary rings within an hour's drive. Victoria's Jewelry introduces the latest sterling designer line, showcasing unique Native American rings, pendants, bracelets, and earrings. Discover the beauty of sea and beach class, now part of the amazing collection. The estate case Victoria's Jewelry has expanded, so be sure to check it out. Victoria's Jewelry is not only a destination for stunning jewelry, but also offers cash or trade for your old, broken gold pieces. Victoria's Jewelry can even calculate and sell your jewelry on consignment. Repairs, custom work, and the new year is a great time to have your written appraisals updated for insurance done right in store. Make January unforgettable with Victoria's Jewelry. Visit our website or stop by Victoria's Jewelry on South James Street in downtown Ludington. Your trusted source for exquisite jewelry and exceptional service.
You've been listening to Leading West Michigan with Ryan Howell, a weekly program where you hear success stories of local officials and business leaders. Join us next week for
more music coming next at 102.7. Listen to this while we set them up.
Introducing Canada's Next Grip boots, now here in Ludington and Manistee, featuring a cutting-edge retractable cleat system, only at Snyder's Shoes. Keep your feet warm and dry this season with a wide selection of waterproof and insulated boots for both men and women, including trusted brands like Sorel, Uggs, and Boggs. For those outdoor enthusiasts, Snyder's has you covered with insulated hiking boots from Keen and Oboz, perfect for all your adventures. Snyder's Shoes is proud to be Footwear Insight's Gold Medal Service Award recipient for exceptional customer service, ensuring you have the best shopping experience possible. Join Snyder's Shoes in celebrating 85 years of providing top quality footwear. Visit Snyder's Shoes, conveniently located in downtown Ludington and downtown Manistee. Don't let your feet go naked. Visit Snyder's Shoes and step into comfort, style, and durability. Discover why Snyder's Shoes has been a trusted name for 85 years.
Ever envisioned creating a brighter future? Your journey starts with St. John's Home Healthcare, where we're seeking dedicated, skilled, and compassionate individuals like you. Join us as an RN or LPN in Ludington, Muskegon, Cadillac, and more. Experience 401k matching, flexible schedules, comprehensive healthcare, and a range of benefits designed to support you as an individual individual. At St. John's, we prioritize your well-being, not just your work. If you're passionate about caring for others with medical needs, apply at our Ludington office on Washington Avenue or online today. Your fulfilling future awaits.
All right, so welcome back. Again, I'm Ryan Howe. We're on to the final segment with Grace Richardson, the Coalition Coordinator for the Leeward Initiative. So with that, how can people help? Let's start there. If they want to get involved, how can they help?
So if you want to be involved in the coalition, you can contact me at the health department. You can just call our general line and they'll connect you with myself. Or you can just drop into one of our meetings or the second Thursday of every month from 9 to 10 a.m., usually at the Lakeshore Resource Network. I'll announce to people if it changes. But if you're someone who is just looking to volunteer in the community for substance use prevention education work, just let me know or come to the meetings and see what we're all about.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and that's again, that's how I got in there. I got, hey, this might be a place you want to go to, Ryan. So I stopped in, and yeah, it was really great to see all the work and I'm a strategic planner by nature and also for my work. So to see with the efforts that you were working was really great to see. So with that, is there any, as far as the team, that you want to put any thank yous out to the team that's been helpful for you over time?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So everyone who is a part of my coalition, I super appreciate. Like I said, we have so many people who represent different agencies and organizations around Mason County. And then also my coworkers who work in substance use prevention in Lake and Oceana County. The three of us work pretty closely together, and we like to bounce ideas off each other, come to each other's meetings. And then my colleagues at the health department, they're always just so supportive.
Oh, that's great to hear. And then, so with that, what initiatives do you have that are going to be coming up here, let's say in the next quarter to the first part of the year here going into the spring?
Sure. So last March, our coalition wanted to do something around St. Patrick's Day because we know that they sometimes will do like a bar crawl or something downtown. So we designed coasters for the bars, and we distributed 200 coasters to 11 bars. The bars were mostly around Ludington, but this year we would like to do that again and maybe even reach out to the bars in Free Soil or Fountain area, just to make sure that on these coasters, you can scan a QR code and it'll link you up to where you can get a sober ride. The rides aren't free, but it's a number that you can call where if you need a safe, sober ride home, you're able to get that access by just scanning the QR code. So we're going to do that again in March by distributing coasters. And then in April, we hold a medication take-back event twice a year, so April and October. And usually April is our big hit. Last year, we broke a record and had over 200 pounds of sharps and medicines brought to us. It is a drive-through event that is usually held at the fairgrounds. So more to come on that.
Okay, so yeah, and especially on that sharps, that's the one that I've brought up to a few folks, having a more ready access to basically to be able to drop off sharps, because there are a lot of folks that do medication at home. There's other reasons, obviously, for sharps, but to be able to have a spot, you can do that. So it's great that you at least be able to take care of that every couple times a year. So as far as for the coalition going forward, let's say 5 years from now, what does success look like with the coalition? What do you think that for you? What does that look like?
Definitely just growing in general. I would like it to go back to how it was once upon a time. In the beginning, it was quite robust. We had separate work groups where you would designate one person if they were in the recovery work group. They would be the chair, and there would be three others, and they would work together to find where are your local AAs taking place, and then they could create a sheet and distribute that out so people had those resources. So I would say in the future, if we could bring back separate work groups, if people wanted to specifically work on recovery or specifically work on vaping, that we would be able to come to the meeting, get in our work groups, and make some change happen around the community.
No, that would be good to see, especially those again, the larger focus on the community. We all had a reset during the pandemic, and had to refigure out exactly what it is and where our priorities are at. But with work like what you're doing, this work didn't fall through the cracks, and it was very important to make sure we had that piece. So, So I want to go back to vaping for a second, because that is obviously a huge issue that's around there. So what are some of the work you're doing in the schools as far as for prevention, like vape prevention and or let's say if someone wants cessation from vaping, what's that look like?
Yeah, so I myself am able to, if the schools would like, can come in and I actually teach a course called Life Skills. And I can do a session on vaping. So I will go in and have some interactive activities for the students to teach them about the dangers of vaping. I have a briefcase full of fake vapes that just show the kids as a visual, like if you see this lying around, like don't touch it. Or like if you see a friend your age using this, don't use it. I know people don't want to be a tattletale, but you should report that just because it can affect the adolescent brain as it's developing. So I'm able to come in and teach different courses, not only on vaping. I can also teach courses on coping with mental health, healthy decision making, violence in media or social media, a bunch of little fun topics. And then the coalition actually last year was able to partner with our schools, and we used MyFi, which is Michigan Profile for Healthy Youth. It is MyFi year this year, data for 7th, 9th, and 11th graders to see like where our average percentage was for like students who vape. And we were able to create like anti-vaping posters and show the percentage of like this many students don't vape. So we like twisted it around. So like not everyone vapes, so you don't need to vape. And then we also created vape cessation bags for the schools. So if they have a student who comes to them, they're like, I really want to stop vaping, they can get this cessation bag, and inside it has resources of how to quit and like a pack of gum to like distract their mind, things like that.
Okay, well that's great to hear. And it's again, we're getting ready to end the show here, so I just want to let you know I appreciate the work that you're doing. The Leeward Initiative is so very important, and we're very thankful to have you leading it there. So. Again, I'm always looking for new leaders to have on this program and give them an opportunity to share their stories. If you know a leader making an impact, go to summitbusinessguys.com/leadingwestmichigan and submit their name for consideration. So we're off next week. We're off next weekend. I'm in Maine working with clients, but we're going to return on January 20th with Melanie Tomasky from Ludington Schools to learn more about what makes her a West Michigan leader.
You've been listening to Leading West Michigan with Ryan Howell, a weekly program where you hear success stories of local officials and business leaders. Join us next week for more of Leading West Michigan right here on 102.7.